Hey, welcome back. 304 EVs podcast. I am your co-host, Zane, accompanied here by the actual host, Curtis.
Hello, guys.
All right, we got some good stuff for you guys today. Uh, just finished up the Super Bowl on this past Sunday. That'd be February 13th, 2022. And unfortunately, the Rams won because the refs threw the game, but we're not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about EVs. So, to do with the Super Bowl, a lot of EV ads, lots of EV ads. I don't know if anybody was really paying attention. It was like only crypto and electric cars, it seemed.
I'd say people probably paid attention. I think some people only watch the Super Bowl for the ads. I didn't watch it this year, but when I watch it, it's generally just for the ads.
Yeah.
But now with the internet, you can kind of just watch all the ads. But kind of pre-internet or internet being a big deal, I feel like people would tune in just for the ads.
Absolutely, I love the ads. But yeah, notably this year, a lot of EV ads. It's pretty interesting to see. I was kind of excited that stuff's becoming more and more mainstream because there was hardly a gasoline engine ad. There was Toyota. They had their Tundra. The Nissan, they barely put their EV at the end of their ad. It was mostly just the new. Was it just the Z now?
Yeah, just the Nissan Z.
No 370, no 350, just the Z. But yeah, so a lot of EVs. I know Kia had theirs, really cute ad, the electric dog. That's probably, as far as the EV ads go, probably my favorite. I think overall, I prefer some of the crypto ads maybe. Even the Doritos ad, I like the Dorito ad a lot. That was pretty entertaining. But Kia did a really good job. They made theirs more, I guess, audience friendly. They put the puppy in there to kind of win everybody over. Because if it's just a car driving around, you kind of lose some people's attention, I think.
And that ad was for the EV6, by the way.
That's correct.
And then General Motors had two ads. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. How long was the actual Dr. Evil ad during the Super Bowl? It wasn't 2.5 minutes, right?
It was a minute, I think.
Okay, I didn't watch the minute
or
version.
something. I don't remember.
But the 2.5 minute version focused on the cars for maybe 15, 20 seconds. So did not really care for the Dr. Evil electric EV ad. I think the reason for that probably is because there's not a lot of consumer knowledge about electric vehicles. So it's a really good platform, I think, to kind of spread a little bit of knowledge, and then they kind of feel like wasted it with that ad.
I thought it was entertaining, but yeah, the cars definitely didn't get showed off hardly at all.
Yeah, we watched the Will Ferrell ad from last year again on accident. It was way better. They showed the
Way
cars
better.
so much more.
But yeah, the cars, other than I guess the Silverado was in there. The Cadillacs that they had in the split second of lineup that they showed in the Dr. Evil ad, very conceptual. They were funky looking. They didn't look like they were finished products at all. They were all futuristic looking and real sleek, kind of like any sort of concept art would look.
I think maybe part of the problem with the General Motors ads, I kind of just thought of this, is that all the vehicles they show are all like literally $100,000. Like all of them.
That's a lot of these cars.
The Lyric's 60,000, but like the Hummer's 100,000 right now. The Silverado they keep showing is a $100,000 version of it.
Crazy.
So General Motors says they're the leader in EVs, yet all the cars they make right now, other than the Bolt, are mega
Who can
expensive.
buy them? Who's buying this?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Then we talked about Nissan a little bit ago. It's mostly just an ad about the Z, revving and jumping around, stunts, action movie-esque, and then very end you get a little badge, a little peek of the I guess it's the Ariya, however they pronounce that, their electric SUV. Just a little snippet, and that was it.
And just a little tidbit for the audience: the new Nissan EV, because you're probably aware of the Nissan Leaf, it will not be using the Chatham charger, so no worries there. It'll be using basically the industry standard CCS, and it'll be battery. The battery will be liquid cooled like almost every other electric vehicle, so no overheating on road trips, or no throttling. It doesn't overheat, no throttling, and you can actually charge it wherever you like.
That's how you want it to be, right there.
So,
Let's see. Hyundai got the Ioniq 5 out there. What's that actor's name? Is that Jason? Is it Bateman? That was one of the Jasons. Let me look real quick. But yeah, he was doing a pretty interesting ad there. Yeah, it's Bateman. Jason Bateman. He did one with Hyundai for the Ioniq 5. Kind of went through time a little bit there. Started as a caveman, went through the 50s, so on. Just different tech over time. Kind of showed how far we've come with EVs because he was in like a smart car of sorts there for a second, and then it's like, man, look at this Ioniq 5, like, all this good stuff. Which it is a pretty solid car. I do appreciate the efforts of Hyundai there on that car for sure.
Yeah, I like the Ioniq 5. I think it's my favorite non-Tesla vehicle. I don't think Zane cares for it though.
The design is okay. I saw one the other day on a road trip. It looks pretty good in person. I think it stands out a little bit. I saw it from a while off, and Maddie was in the passenger seat, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Right up there. See, it's an Ioniq 5. I'm pretty sure." I was like, "I've never seen one before, other than in pictures, but I'm pretty sure it's what that is," and it was. And then I told her to film it. She got all embarrassed trying to film this person's car. I was like, "No, they know what they're driving." I was like, "They get it.
Yeah,
They bought an Ioniq 5."
there's probably like 1,000 of them out there in the whole country right now.
Right. Yeah, I was like, they know what they're driving. I also saw a Polestar 2 when I was up there as well. Several EVs around. Teslas always. I mean, there's always Teslas around.
Yeah.
They just got to dominate. But
Oh, you
it's
went
fun
to
seeing these new ones.
You went to Easton, right?
Yeah, I did.
Did they have the chargers like 2 to 7 like closed, like the fast chargers? Did you see any of the fast chargers? Because last time I went to Easton Town Center, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., you cannot fast charge your vehicle at any of their garages.
Oh, it's in the garage. Yeah, I always park surface parking. I don't
Okay.
go in the garage. I didn't see any chargers.
Oh well, they have they have like 3 or 4 of their garages have chargers. And they have a couple fast chargers, and the ones that still work, because apparently there's some that don't work according to Plug Share. You can't charge between 2 to 7, which is really nice because basically that forces you to stay there
Yeah, basically.
until like 8 o'clock to charge from
Jeez.
like 7 to 8. Like, yeah, it's to like reduce electricity use during like demand times. I'm like, can you guys just like turn the lights off or something other than like not let people charge their cars?
When everyone's there from 2 to 7, I guess if you go early, I don't know.
But like then you're leaving ridiculously early. You're gonna leave at like you're gonna have to start charging at like 1 or 1:30 to leave at like 2. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. See, that's something I've not noticed because I'm still on the old coal train there. Fossil
but
fuels, baby.
something about that is they don't like shut them off. They just put like a barricade there. You just move it, I guess. If you really need to drive, that's what I would do. I just move it. Be like, no. I mean, at least in the Columbus area, there are a lot of other fast chargers. But come on, you can't close a fast charger. You don't close a gas station pump and say sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I can't believe they do that. It's kind of like how COVID's allowed so many excuses. They're just like, oh, don't want to use too much energy. Got to close them down. But they're not
Yeah.
mainstream yet. That's why they just don't care enough, probably.
Yeah, if they had more people complaining to them, they would shut that down immediately.
Right. Yeah, they would definitely turn that over if a lot of the wealthier shoppers, especially, come in with high-end EVs.
Well, I think right now a lot of the wealthier people are probably driving the Teslas, which they're not allowed to close those down. Those have to stay open.
Right. And then even still, stuff that's not electric. But then, yeah, another ad I saw, like I said, I saw a Polestar 2 when I was in Columbus. There was a Polestar ad on the Super Bowl. I was kind of excited to see that, being that Polestar is a little bit special to us, I guess. We're sadly invested at the moment and not doing too well. But it's coming back. It's on its way up. We'll see what happens.
I think some thoughts about Polestar in general. I think they would probably sell all the cars they could make if they lower their price. They're kind of pricing it above a Tesla and giving you less for your money. Well, actually, they're giving you less than it. It's a horrible value. It's like a terrible, terrible value right now.
Yeah, they're not great as far as what you get, what you pay for. Comparatively, I think the Polestar 2 versus the Model 3. Model 3 would beat it every time.
They even have a version of the Polestar 2. I think it's a base model with no packages. It doesn't even have adaptive cruise control. They're putting adaptive cruise
Bare
control
bone.
on $20,000 Toyota Corollas. So that's
Hey man,
that's
it's
not
an EV.
acceptable.
You gotta cut costs somewhere.
Yeah, save the $50, right?
But yeah, so the Polestar ad, it was very not very spicy, not very entertaining. It was just kind of plain Jane. They're just talking about there's no compromises. Just kind of funny. We're talking about it's kind of a compromise from a Tesla at this point, but so they were like, no Dieselgate, no this, no that, no blah blah blah. Like, this is it. This is the car. This is Polestar. So it was kind of a bold statement in a way, how simplistic it was, but at the same time, it wasn't anything that people are gonna walk away remembering. Like I think they had a different approach for the Super Bowl because people they don't care what the ads for, they just want to be entertained. It's just a big entertainment.
Yeah.
So like Doritos had a sloth eating Cheetos and Doritos. Yeah, because they had both on the ground there. All the critters in the forest are eating the snacks, and then you find out at the end it's Doritos, or you kind of recognize the product in the scene, but
Yeah, but
you remember that
you
more.
still see the product though during the entire scene, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because I think the Kia ad did a little bit better. They had that focus on the robot dog, yet the EV6 was driving around the whole
Always in the
time,
background, kind of. Yeah.
always there. They did a good job product placement in that ad.
I think most of them did a pretty good job putting their product in, except for General Motors with their.
And Nissan. Nissan just said, boop, there's our car.
Oh yeah.
We focus on the Z. Redesigns. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Odd
GM,
time.
yeah. They almost did the exact opposite of Polestar. They were too much in the entertainment side and barely showed the cars. So I guess in a way that works. It leaves less to be desired, so maybe you do more research if you're an average person, but probably won't.
Yeah, probably wouldn't.
Probably
Now,
won't.
something that we talked about I thought was kind of interesting was there's probably a lot of exposure to people about electric vehicles. I think right now there are a lot of people. I just know there are a lot of people right now that say, "Well, what electric cars are there to buy?" Like only name they can come up with normally is Tesla and
Tesla.
maybe Nissan Leaf, but normally they just think of it as like the funky looking car because they're thinking of like the original Leaf.
Right.
So people are like, well, "What can I buy?" Like, had someone the other day that was like, "Well," I was like, "Yeah, you should get an EV for your next vehicle." Because they said they wanted an SUV, and they're like, well, there aren't, what SUV EVs are there? And I was like, almost all of them are SUVs that are electric vehicles right now.
Like everything else, yeah, everything's SUV now. It's hard
So
to get a sedan anymore. I guess they're offering more of that stuff in EVs right now than anybody else, really. You got Tesla with two, and Polestar's got one, and
the Polestar though is like kind of odd looking sedan though.
has the EV6, is that considered a crossover?
Like that kind of reminds me of the Pulsar actually. Look, it's kind of it like has a tall body almost like the back of it's like high up off the ground. At
Yeah, I
some
think the
point.
Polestar's got that like back gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite a trunk, so it kind of makes it cool. Though.
Is
I
it a
like when,
fastback? Is the Pulsar a fastback?
something like that. Yeah, I think the windshield pops out too. It all comes up. The whole back end opens up,
Oh yeah, so fastback.
so it's interesting. Um, but yeah, the EV commercials were thick. There was a lot of them, which was exciting. Like I said, crypto too. Coinbase had that ad, just the QR code. That was surprisingly well for the amount of attention it got. I thought that would go over a lot of people's heads, especially the party I was at. It was mostly older folks, and
Do they know how to scan the QR code?
I was the one that showed them.
Oh, okay.
I was like, "Hey, watch this." I scanned it, and they were like, "What? You could do that?" And they all got their phones out and started scanning it, and then proceeded to be asked, "What's a Bitcoin? What's this?" And I was like, "Oh no, now it's not the time. That's a whole different story."
I'd rather explain electric vehicles for like an hour than explain Bitcoin for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Yeah, but why did you ask me about any of the other commercials? All these EV commercials? I can tell you all kinds of stuff."
Did you get any audience reaction from any of the electric vehicle ads other than from maybe Terry? Did anyone else say anything or was surprised? Or...
No, he was just comparing everything to his Tesla.
Yeah.
All the charging lacking of everything. Speaking of lack of chargers, we have an article here. Where's this article from, Curtis?
I think almost all our articles are from Inside EVs this week. They just do a really good job of kind of getting together all their articles from different sources. And they also only cover electric vehicles, so they're going to be better than Motor Trend or Car and Driver.
Yeah, so this one here by Inside EVs. It comes from the Netherlands, or it's happening in the Netherlands. Tesla, which I'm surprised that they haven't started on this here in their home country, more so than the Netherlands, but they've opened all of their superchargers to non-Tesla EVs, which is really cool. That's a big breakthrough.
Yeah, definitely a really big deal. Now, Tesla did promise this for the United States to be done by the end of 2021. They said, yeah, we'll open it up by the end of 2021 to all electric vehicles.
Yeah, have you heard any of their promises the last
Yeah, it's always
almost 10 years.
1 to 5 years out before
It's
they promise.
always way out. That's one thing I don't like about Tesla. They're not very good at that, estimating when things will be finished. There's always a push.
Now, in Tesla's defense, I guess in a way, in Europe, I don't know if you know this actually. Or I don't think most people know this. So I think all the new, I'm pretty like 99% sure all the new Teslas use CCS charging.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have the Tesla charging port.
Oh, interesting.
So all they have to do is really just unlock this by software. Because I'm pretty sure right now there's actually issues getting I don't know if they even make it like a Tesla to CCS like supercharging adapter.
I'm not
So,
sure. Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they haven't rolled it out to the U.S. or even they haven't even done a pilot anywhere is because they don't have the plugs. And
It's crazy.
So I do think eventually Tesla's going to switch to CCS in the United States, hopefully. But you never know. I mean, Apple still doesn't have the Type C on the iPhone. They have it on like all their other products, and like I don't even know why. I think most consumers want it. I think Apple kind of wants it honestly because they can sell new accessories maybe, but like it's just not happening.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's crazy to me.
There'll still be that vocal crowd though that'll complain that they have to buy new. Oh, I have to buy new. I have to buy a new dock. Sorry, you used your last dock for a decade. Like Lightning's been out
Get
for a
wireless
decade.
charging, folks. Wireless charging. I just got a new MagSafe stand for my watch and my phone. Love that thing. It looks really cool, especially when you have a 12 or a 13 series. You just stick it right on there, magnetized. It's great. But yeah, this is pretty cool in the Netherlands. Says here that they'll be able to use EV drivers. That is, be able to use 35 stations, and they have several more planned for this year. So that's pretty good. 35 stations. If you're driving anything else but an EV, or I mean, but a Tesla, that is an EV, you've got some options for charging. Quickly too, because a lot of the options it seems as of right now for non-Tesla folks is not ideal, less to be desired.
It depends on where you live.
Yeah, for us here in the old 304, good luck.
Yeah, it's like anytime you want to go. Well, actually, you just can't leave the state. I feel like once you get out of the state, you're set. Like if you want to go to Cincinnati, there's not a single charger of any brand between here and Cincinnati. I don't know what's up with that. And then I look to go to like Baltimore. It's like extends the route by hours.
Jeez. Yeah,
but somehow you can go cross country though. Like once you get on that interstate system to go like across the country, you're set. Like sometimes it's weird like getting there though, like going up or down.
Right.
It's just a struggle sometimes.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially non-Tesla folks like yourself.
Yeah.
You just put in a new charger too, though.
Yeah.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah, so I installed a level 2 charger. I got the ChargePoint Home Flex. It does up to 50 amps of power. Installed that. So what I did was I got a service drop, which is basically just a new line of service from your electric company, and put in we buried a 16-foot pole, 4 foot deep, and put an exterior breaker box on and wired the charger up. Also put up a floodlight and also put a 110 outlet out there and got all that up and running. I think the charger was like 700 plus tax, and then all the materials was probably like $800 or $900 to do the service drop. So not too terribly expensive.
Not bad. Not bad.
It gives you the ability to expand really easily, where there's a whole new line of service. So we can add another charger super easy because we put like an enclosure that has spots for 2 chargers, but we can also really add 2 more if we wanted. And it'd be really simple. Like you don't have to do. All you got to do is get the new breaker switches for the box and just wire it up. So
pretty cool.
Definitely the way to go.
Way better than just going across the yard.
Yeah, well, I couldn't,
it from the house.
Couldn't even do that. I only had a 100 amp service for the whole house, and then the charger's pulling 32. And then if I get like a newer car, you can pull up to 48 amps or I guess 50 amps. So I can't pull half my available capacity from my home box.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice setup. He's got it looking good out there. It looks very official. Nice little charging stall. I was joking with him where he has capacity to put 4 chargers in. Might as well make another stop here, even though it's slow charging.
Yeah, it's also pretty far off the interstate, in like a residential neighborhood.
It's not too bad. If you really need to do it, you can do it. It's not bad at all.
So I did discover, because I have ChargePoint, and I charged at ChargePoint in Easton, that I don't think I told you this yet, that my chargers are faster than ones they had at Easton. I guess they only have like 32. I don't know.
Jeez.
I guess they just weren't delivering the full 32 amps of power, because I compared and I got more mileage off my charger. Same car. So I don't know if I was sharing the charger with someone else and I didn't realize it for part of the charge, but I could actually charge pretty quickly, or I can do like the fastest level 2 you can possibly get.
Here?
Yeah, I mean level 2 only goes up to, well, basically 48 amps, and I could do 48 amps. So I guess
Sweet.
a lot of the ones in public aren't even 48 amps. I think a lot of them are 32 amps.
That's even a bigger problem to get into. Not only do we not have enough fast chargers, but the level 2s they're putting in aren't even fast enough to be high level level 2s.
Yeah, the level 2s are slow and the level 3s are slow, and
Gosh,
it's
crazy.
like they spend $100,000 on a site to put in level 3, and they save a few grand and do 50 kilowatt hours. Same with the level 2s.
Yeah, it's gonna kill them in the long run. That's for sure.
Now, last week we did talk about I don't know if I told you. I think I told you about this. The standard for the $5 billion in EV charging. So the minimum is 150 kilowatt hours per plug.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Really, really fast charging. If they're gonna make this, I mean, and it looks like it's going that way. Is that all the ads in the Super Bowl showing all these new EVs coming out? They have got to get the infrastructure better. I mean, it is crazy how behind they are on some of this stuff.
And a lot of this, though, I don't really have a reason to defend the infrastructure for non-Teslas, but a lot of it is where we live. Like, I feel like if you live in the northern part of the country, like New York area, New Jersey, D.C., or definitely if you live in, like, I don't know, California, you're not, or Washington State, you feel like it's totally fine. But here, it's just so barren. Like, there's just nothing.
Very barren. We're not really getting the jump start on this thing.
Yeah. I mean, but actually, a lot of our stations around here, they're level 2s, but they sit empty all the time for the most part. The ones at Marshall have pretty good traffic, but Marshall also has, like, I don't know, 10 to 15,000 students or something. I don't know how many of those people have in-person classes, but those were pretty busy.
Yeah. Especially when people without EVs would park there.
Yeah, you get iced.
Make you feel good. Try to pull up, get some extra juice, and can't do it. There's a Toyota Tundra in your way or something.
Yeah,
Very obviously not electric.
Well, the people at Marshall, they're just idiots when it comes to parking in general. Like, they would park around that loop near the library, and they would write tickets every single day for people that parked in that pull-around loop.
Mm-hmm.
People would just park there, and every single day, every single person parked there would have a ticket.
Jeez.
And just day after day after day, people thought, like, oh, I'll slip by, I'll park here for 3 hours, and no one will catch me.
Marshall's just collecting that bag. There's money.
I wish they'd write, like, higher tickets for people that park in the EV spots. And that's what will eventually happen. They'll have to do that, because people aren't catching on even with the regular ticket prices.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. I just don't think they're monitoring those chargers that much because, frankly, they don't care as of yet.
Yeah,
it's
they were
just not
donated.
widespread as much.
They were donated most of the money for those chargers. So
Yeah. Speaking of chargers, another article on Inside EVs here. This is an interesting article because when we first saw it, it was stating, as the headline states, EV chargers will eventually outnumber gas stations. But then we have down here the edit, which I guess once you read that title, it kind of makes sense.
Oh, no, the title originally did not say that. The title originally said EV
oh,
chargers, I think, will soon outnumber gas stations. And then that thing below was like...
It was will
almost the
soon. I
same,
remember
yeah.
reading this earlier, yes. And then I guess there was some confusion between the word gas station and gas pump. They're saying gas stations, which is the actual like location where you get gas, not the amount of pumps there. Because I mean, each gas station has probably 8 to 10. Smaller ones maybe 4, but still.
I say the bigger ones have more than 8 or 10, though. I think they go up to like...
Probably 12 to
16.
16.
I just think how big the Sheetz is closest to where I live, and it's pretty long.
Yeah, and there's 2x2. Well, actually, no.
Oh, is it 2x2 or is
good.
it 1x1?
It's
Is it just one?
There's 2 pumps, but you can hit it on either side. So there's actually 4 on each.
2, 2, 2, 2, or
You might be looking at like 20 pumps.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Nonetheless, yeah, this article, so at first glance, before they edited it, I was like, there is no way, no way they have enough chargers to compete with all that. And I guess a lot of people felt the same way. And then they were like, oh wait, eventually, eventually they'll get there.
Yeah.
But the study that they got from a poor guy named Jerry over there at Inside EVs, good old Jerry gave him some skewed data there. He was comparing individual charging stalls to entire gas stations, not
Yeah.
the pumps. So then they kind of adjusted everything a little bit. So it was very inaccurate. So there are up to 150,000 individual gas stations. They all have multiple pumps. So yeah, up to 20 pumps plus.
That is actually crazy to think about 150,000 fueling stations.
Or just think in our immediate area. If you're going from here to work, so you leave here. I know there's a 7-Eleven on the corner. You go down, there's a Sheets.
Hit another Sheets.
And then if you keep going down 60, there's another Sheets before you get to work.
I can see an Exxon from making a left to go up towards work.
There's an Exxon right there.
So how many is that? One,
There's
two,
4
three. That's 4
on the
I
way.
can see. And there's also 2 oil change places on the way to work.
At least.
Now.
Yeah, there's 2 new ones. Shoot, there's got to be another. Oh, there's the Kroger have pumps?
Yeah, I can kind of see that on the way to work. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 5 options right there. Like right there. You don't have to hardly go off your path. It's crazy. And they all have more and more pumps than just
They're all pretty
one
busy
stall.
too, except for 7-Eleven's not terribly busy, but all the other ones are pretty busy.
Yeah, Sheets kind of has the market. For those of you that don't know what Sheets is, you're missing out. Okay, Sheets it's expanding. I've seen more places I go. Like Ohio didn't have Sheets even just a few years ago. Now when I go, there's a couple on the way to Columbus, and then there's some in and around Columbus that I saw. Some are brand spanking new when they're just putting them in.
They should be putting charters in with those.
Yeah, you'd think they would.
The easiest way time to do it's when you first building the
Nah, we don't want them.
Sheets has a partnership with Electrify America, well, and Tesla. So they actually probably doing the best at all the gas stations to try to diversify their energy solutions or their fueling solutions.
Yeah, because even the Sheets is that the way to say that? The Sheets plural in West Virginia. Like if you're going up north through the state, every Sheets we stopped at just to get gas for my car had Tesla chargers, and it was like, really? But then you have all these other Sheets that don't, and
Yeah.
some of them, brand spanking new, have the ability right there to throw some in, even just a couple stalls, and they just won't do it. It's stubborn. It's going to be hard to change how everything goes here. It's going to take all these automakers to push all these cars out for them to finally catch up. I think we're going to see a bit of a lull there when it first happens. We're going to see a drought.
It's like the
for
chicken and the
chargers.
egg situation. Like, no one wants to buy an EV until there's more chargers, and no one wants to build more chargers until there are more EVs. I think roughly like only 2% of new car sales are EVs in the United States.
Yeah.
Which it seems like it's higher than that just based on what we see out and about. But yeah, 2%. I think I saw there were only 600 EVs registered in West Virginia as of like last year or something.
Only 600?
I'm pretty sure it was 600.
Wow.
It was either 600 or 6,000, but I think it was 600.
Jeez.
I'll have to, if I remember,
Let's just look
look
that up. See if we can find it real quick. Is that
Yeah,
easy?
I'll look it up
Is that
in
an
here
easy
a second.
find?
But one thing I also wanted to mention was, I guess if you want to look that up, I'll talk about this for a second.
Sure.
Is that so I guess it's really important to remember that we don't really need 150,000 electric vehicle charging stations, not plugs, but the actual stations, because you're going to do most of your charging at your house, or eventually your apartment whenever the I guess landlords determine that that's kind of a necessary thing. I know some probably will be resistant to that because there are still apartments, or a lot of apartments don't have like washer and dryer hookups. So
Yeah, the bare minimum. Like food, water, shelter. It seems like a washer and dryer is almost a necessity. Well, I guess it is. How else are you going to do it?
Yeah.
You're just going to stick them in the sink?
I think some have like laundromats so they can profit off of you even more, which is kind of messed up.
Right.
I can understand like in New York City, yeah, you're renting a studio. Yeah, maybe you don't need a washer and dryer. Like you're already renting a tiny place, but like the super urban areas, part of country, they should be. I would think they would have washer and dryer hookups more standard by now. I mean, washers and dryers have been out for I don't even know when they came out. Like between the I think the 30s, the 50s, somewhere around there.
I'm seeing a lot of mixed articles here. Let's see. Well, this says we are sixth lowest when it comes to EV sales.
I think it may have been that same article. Does it mention how many registered EVs we have?
Let's see. It says that only 4.5 cars out of every 1,000 purchased are EVs. 4.5 out of 1,000. I can't find anything here though where it says how many are registered currently. Now there were some other articles from like 2016, but I think the adoption's gotten a lot higher since then. It was saying like 550 or 600, so I'm sure there's more now. Okay, from 2011, looks like 1374.
When was this?
This was 6 months or 8 months ago.
Or how many? 1,300?
Yeah, it says from 2011. We referred to that as the modern EV phase up through February of this year. So I guess that was February of 21.
Oh, here we go. I found it. Inside EVs wrote an article in How Many EVs Are Registered in Your State. You may be surprised. That's the title of the article. West Virginia has 600 registered EVs. So maybe you're seeing sales then, or is it registered cars?
This is sales.
So I mean, they these like
But it says West
active
Virginians have
registration.
purchased them.
600.
So they're in-state residents. I don't know. Maybe they're not registered here all the time.
We're not last though. North Dakota has 220, which I think is a higher percentage as a part of their population, probably.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old North Dakota. You love North Dakota, don't you?
That's probably the. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
He's always like, man, wish I could be less of a barren wasteland. Oh, wait. North Dakota. Yeah, West Virginia's got nothing on North Dakota,
Yeah. Oh boy.
according to Curtis.
Never been to North Dakota though, so if we have any fans that live in North or South Dakota, you can please leave a comment. Tell us how it is.
Defend your case. Defend your state.
But
Tell Curtis what's up.
based on how many viewers we have, there's a pretty high chance that none of our viewers are from North or South Dakota because no one lives there.
Currently.
Yeah.
Somebody might be scrolling back. This is going to the future people. They might.
They
might. So next we got on our list for today, getting down to the bottom of our queue here. New EV coming out 2024. Yeah, cause the Ocean. This is Fisker, which is kind of funny that they're calling them a startup. Because I remember like the Fisker Karma, and I guess it was 2012, something like that, or early 2010s. It had like the solar roof, and it was really not all that crazy. Whenever you actually got down into it, like I think I saw maybe Doug DeMuro or somebody review it, and they were like, it's not that great. But I remember I saw one or two throughout the time that they were kind of coming out and stuff, and I thought they were really cool looking. But at that time, I didn't really dig into anything. I was a bit younger then. But now that company faded, and we have now a startup that takes the same name, Fisker. I think they're trying to revamp everything. So they've got the Ocean, the Fisker Ocean, which is SUV, coming in 2022. It should be the end of this year. But they're also opening reservations for a second product, the Pear, Pear, which is just a short term for Personal Electric Automotive Revolution. It's revolutionary. It's a Pear. What do you think about that? We got Apple. Apple's revolutionary. Then we got the Pear.
Yeah,
All
it'll be
the
interesting.
fruits.
We'll see what comes to market. We'll see if the price holds. I don't think it will with inflation.
Yeah, it's
Probably
supposed
be
to be sub
$35,000 car.
That's
okay
the
though.
ticket. Yeah, sub $30,000.
30, whatever the equivalent of 30,000 is by 2024. I mean, that'll still be great.
Be sub 60. It'll be 59. I'm just kidding. But yeah, right now they're targeting a $29,900 starting price.
Before any incentives too.
Yeah, and then there's a $7,500 federal tax credit if that's still involved in 24 when that comes out. It'd be $22,400.
It's like the price of a
22.4
Civic.
for a brand new Pear, a Fisker Pear. Now I think if I remember this correctly, yeah, this is the description given by Fisker. It's going to be quote an agile urban EV. So I'm assuming the Pear. It's probably going to look kind of like a pear. I think it's going to be kind of short and stubby. An agile
Ugh.
urban EV.
Anytime I hear urban for a car, it is ridiculously small.
They're
Like
little. Yeah.
my car is not the Bolt is not an urban vehicle. It was never branded as urban. Like urban is like the Honda E they have in Europe, which is tiny. It's like the ID3 is more urban. I don't even know if that's even like urban. It's like the smart car or that candy vehicle I showed you.
Oh gosh.
That's urban.
The candy. We need to touch on the candies. Actually, that's a ridiculous brand. Um, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried because yeah, you hear new car coming sub 30, 29.9. Actually, I think it's probably going to be really expensive for what it is. Like any AV right now, they're kind of high. So you're like, wow, really cheap. But I think it's going to be pretty awful.
Yeah, it might be. I think they'll have more competition. Apparently, Lucid wants to do like an affordable car by 2025.
Well, I imagine what their idea of affordable is.
I think they said $25,000 cars are long term
Wow.
goal, or whatever the equivalent is with inflation. But Tesla kind of started out that way. They started out making the original Roadster.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact MSRP of that, but then the Model S came out and it started out like 80, and then like years later, it took like 4 or 5 years after the Model S. Model 3 started out originally at 35,000. So you kind of have to do that when you're a startup, is start out with the really expensive vehicles and
Work down
have massive profit
a
margins.
little more R&D.
Yeah, you spend all that R&D on the big car, and then you can kind of miniaturize it all for the smaller vehicle, or learn how to make it basically cheaper, cut cost.
Yeah, they all seem to start pretty high, which it's always amazed me how you can. I just don't know how they do it. They just become companies and just start manufacturing cars
Yeah, it takes a long time.
without severe issues. Like some of them, I mean, I haven't really heard of any of these like startups like Fisker or like Polestar, which Polestar, I don't think they quite count because they're just under the wing of Volvo. Volvo's kind of handling all that, but you have Rivian.
Some of these people, they start working. Like I think Lucid. I think I was watching Jay Leno's Garage, and I believe they started working on that car like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
That's still not that long though.
But one model.
Yeah, but that's crazy. They just start from. I guess they may have some experience in the industry, but just
Well,
show up and make a new car and just start manufacturing and delivering this car and the amounts that they do, even though they're small now, like even 1,000 cars, that just seems like if I were just to be like, all right, I want to start an EV company today. I just think of this. I couldn't imagine building 1,000 cars and sourcing the materials and designing things and hiring all these people and doing all this stuff in such a short amount of time.
a lot of it's just hiring talent. People have already done it, like you kind of just mentioned. I think that's the biggest part, probably, of starting a car company is hiring people who have designed cars. Like me and you would not be like great people to start a car company, but like
Let's do it.
if we worked at Ford for 20 years and then we decided to do it, and we were higher up at Ford, or at least really knew what we were talking about, we'd probably do fine. I mean, maybe not fine. We probably actually
Yeah.
would not do fine. We'd
But
probably
that's the
fail,
other thing
but
too. Even if you did work at Ford or wherever for years and years, it's a completely different car. These are EVs. Like, this is a new tech. Well, not really, but newly widespread. Like it's becoming more popular.
to an extent, but there's a lot of a car that there's more to a car than just the powertrain. Like you still have the infotainment, and you still have the aerodynamics, and you got to figure out how to put those panels together.
Tesla.
And there's a lot that I mean, yeah, to an extent, I would say. I don't know. If you know how to make a regular car, you can make an EV.
I guess, but yeah, then
All
the
the other
issue becomes
automakers are doing it.
efficiency. Got these big promises and they're not always accurate. 400-mile range, 300-mile range. And then you get Ford, for instance. Ford's got these cars coming out, and they're like in the 200s,
Yeah.
like the Mach-E. Can't even break 300
I think they do have a model of the Monkey that does 300.
unless you spend a bunch
Yeah.
more money on it, get the long range.
Yeah, it is a lot more.
But still, like most, like my Ford Fusion that I had two of them actually. For those that don't know, but I had a 2019 Fusion. It wasn't a hybrid or anything. It'd get about 400 miles, or it told me it was going to get about 400 miles on a full tank of gas. That just becomes like an expectation for me. I just want to have the same ability as my car that I've always had. I think that goes for everyone or everybody. They just want they don't want to sacrifice things. I think that's where a lot of the fear comes for EVs. They've heard of the like Nissan Leafs and stuff like that that don't have very high range, and they just apply the same thing to everybody. I think that's a dangerous thing for anyone to do in any situation, but that's definitely true in the EV news, or in the subreddits or the comment sections. You see a lot of people that are like, "Well, what about charging for like 20 years? How am I supposed to road trip? How am I supposed to go anywhere on a 2-mile range? Oh, don't leave the car on; it'll die in 2 hours." Like, there's just so much stuff from the
Yeah.
old style
There
that
is a
gets
lot.
carried over.
But I do think something to think about with electric vehicles is look how far they've come in 10 years. And imagine
Oh
the
yeah,
next 10 years or the 10 years after that. Smartphones are almost lined up really well with electric vehicles and how much they've already advanced. And now that EVs are actually starting to pick up consumer interest and they're starting to, sales are really starting to grow, I think we're going to see like some amazing results in the next really 2 to 5 years. It's not going to take 10 years to see 500 miles of range on $60,000 or less cars.
yeah. So just to think on an iPhone perspective, 2012, was that not the iPhone 5?
Yeah, it was the iPhone 5.
They didn't even have Touch ID yet, and now we're past that. Well, except for some models, they put that on the iPads and stuff now with the home buttons.
It's like a budget thing now, though.
Yeah, it's a budget thing. I remember when Touch ID came out. Oh, that's when I got my first iPhone, the iPhone 5S, and I was like, "Mom, you gotta listen to me. There's a 5C, there's a 5S." I was like, "I want the S. It's the coolest thing ever."
Was that your first iPhone?
That was my first iPhone.
That was my first iPhone,
Oh yeah,
5S, and
that's
I
pretty
hated
cool.
the 5C because I had
Oh
I
yeah,
had a lot of friends that were like, "Oh, I got the 5C," and I was like, "What? You saved $100 and you got a 5? Like you don't have Touch ID. It's not 64-bit. Like everything was way worse." I'm like,
they're
why
plastic.
you saved $100? Woo, we're
Yeah,
gonna use
that
it for
was
3
a
years.
serious budget phone. Then they had like the SEs and stuff. They still have higher quality materials, but yeah, that was quite the budget phone. Just colorful plastic. They colored it to make you feel better. But yeah, the 5S, man, that was crazy innovation. And I remember watching all the detailed stuff about the Touch ID, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we put this sapphire glass, all this stuff in here, and made this thing scan your fingerprint." But even that had drawbacks, or not drawbacks, pushbacks from consumers. "Oh, the government's trying to steal my fingerprint." All this stuff, all these people. So it doesn't matter what innovation comes out. There's always going to be the old-fashioned folk that just are not about it. And I think EVs are really even bigger than that because there's not going to be another option hardly in the next 5 years. Everybody's trying to go fully electric by like 25, 26, 2030.
It's definitely gonna sneak
Crazy.
up on you. I mean, smartphone adoption kind of snuck up on everyone. If you told people 10 years ago that every single person almost is gonna have a smartphone, including like the people over 70 or 80,
Oh yeah,
I thought you were crazy.
and they're there, and they've got now. They're not always the latest and greatest, but they're there, and it's ridiculous. So, yeah, just to see a 5S, the size difference, like the little tiny screen. Like when somebody brings anything like that in, and I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you still using this?
Guess what else got better over 10 years? The batteries.
Yeah,
Battery life.
battery
Efficiency
life's
got better.
way better.
So that's what you're going to see with EVs. You're going to see, 300 miles will be budget in 5 or 10 years, maybe sooner. Like your non-budget EVs, your non-cheap EVs are probably 500 miles or 400 miles, 4 to 5. I don't think they need to exceed 400 because people seem satisfied with that for gas cars. But the bigger batteries give you some benefits like faster charging when you're 20 to 50%, 20 to 60%, you're going to charge super fast.
Yeah, it's like what we've talked about before, where you're saying batteries with 1,000+ mile capacity, you may not need it. Now it'd be cool if you have a full charge. You can go on one heck of a road trip, but um, charging would just be so much more efficient because this lower percentages charge so much faster. So if you have really really large capacity, but you only need a few hundred, you're only using like say 30% of your battery. You're charging really fast, and you're getting a really good amount of range. That's like the peak for a lot of cars right now that take a lot longer than you'd like to get to that point if you even get there because 80% is more efficient. So you may not even see the full range.
Like 20 minutes on the Lucid Air gives you 300 miles of range.
It's crazy. Yeah, that would be normal. Like right now, we're like, whoa. Well, even though some of our coworkers don't think so, they're like, 20 minutes? What am I supposed to do in 20 minutes? That's crazy. I can't stop for 20 minutes. I'm like, well, if you get out of the car, go inside, you pee. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit to pee if there's a lot of people and it's a small place. You get a snack, you walk around, stretch your leg. I mean, you're taking 20 minutes.
Also, if you follow the rules with pumping gas, you're not supposed to leave your car when you're pumping gas. I mean, I guess if you're traveling with someone else, someone that could sit with it, but
Yeah.
you are supposed to stay with your vehicle when you're
Yeah, I
pumping
always
gas.
do. Yeah, it takes me at least 5 minutes
Yeah.
to pump gas.
Maybe, does it take full 5? Maybe
It
a
feels
couple
like
minutes.
it does.
It feels really long because you're like freezing out there, especially when it's in the
If it's
wintertime.
cold, yeah. You're just standing
I
there
guess you could sit
shivering.
back in your car and you're just kind of with it, but
Yeah.
with an EV, you don't have to sit with it at all. You can just walk away.
Right. Yeah, that'd be really nice. And then when you do sit with it, like Tesla, just sit there and watch Netflix or whatever, and you got a nice size screen in your car. Big infotainment, you get nice show and stuff going on.
And something else I kind of wanted to say about in terms of progress for EVs. I was listening to Inside EVs they're doing like weekly things about the charging infrastructure, and they started with Electrify America. Electrify America started putting chargers in mid 2018. They have 800 locations already. So they completely dominate the fast charging scene for non-Tesla EVs.
Jeez.
And they started 4 years ago, less than 4 years ago. So imagine 4 years from now. And they did all that with like really not a lot of EVs out there.
Right.
Like not a lot of non-Teslas.
They're
Now they did get the money from Dieselgate. They were basically funded. They were given like $2 billion in funding from Volkswagen as part of their Dieselgate settlement with the U.S. But still, I mean they did a lot in 4 years. I mean, even Tesla's done a lot in 4 or 5 years too.
yeah, it's companies like that that are gonna make the difference. They're the ones that actually see the need for chargers. But yeah, I think it's still, even for me, kind of confusing to think about because it's like you see gas pumps everywhere. That's the only place you get gas, and you kind of, if you don't have your own EV, you kind of fail to realize that a lot of your charging is not done on the road. That's only going to affect you if you're taking long trips. If you're going around town, 99% of your tasks with your car are not going to require a charger outside of your home. So really, that article that chargers are going to surpass gas stations, it's really almost not necessary to an extent. There will be a point where there's a lot of traffic in and out of charging stations, especially on the high traffic routes, going to say certain beaches or certain tourist areas.
Yeah, that's kind of already a problem in California. Tesla had to put in one place in California has like it's across a highway. Like there's like almost 50 on one side and 50 superchargers on the other. And I mean, they had to expand because they were full. They were at capacity.
Right.
But like for 95% of the country, you do not need 96 stalls that close. You need like 9 stalls, or 8, or 4,
yeah. So it's
2.
just, it's not going to be the same ball game.
If Sheetz would put in one fast charger at every single one of their gas stations, instead of Electrify America with the 4.8, just one at every single station, that'd be perfect. Like that'd be totally fine. Because guess what? If one Sheetz is full, you go to the next Sheetz, which is 1 mile down the road.
Well, it's not always that easy, but yeah, I think I should at least have two, because then if one goes down, you still have another option.
Yeah.
And then if someone's already there, you have two.
2 would be good. I mean, 2 would be better than putting maybe 8
Put in pairs.
at one spot.
Yeah, 'cause it gets a little
for the rural
hectic.
areas, not for the urban areas.
Right, yeah, urban's always going to need more stuff, it seems. But yeah, it's just weird to think. And then you'll see houses change from people wanting a swimming pool to, does it have a charger already installed?
So speaking of that, the UK new, I don't know if it's new homes or new condos, something like that. They require to have EV charging capabilities.
Smart.
So probably just a plug, but that's okay. Like yeah, that's okay if you have your two, what is it, 220, your
Yeah.
220 plug. Um, as long as you can do 220 plug that can do 32 amps of power, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's not the fastest level 2, but you could charge fully overnight
Yep.
for the most part. So and it's way easier to do that when you're building that house than whenever after it's already
Yeah,
built.
you
Let
got
me
to put
tell
it
you.
in. Yeah, you figure that one out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a strange world to see. Even 5 years, 10 years. I mean, especially in 10 years or so.
Yeah.
When everything's actually like when they're actually producing these cars efficiently, and the cars on the lots. If we ever get back to seeing a lot of cars on the lots that are new and not already purchased on order, are gonna be EVs. You're just gonna see so many changes. It's gonna be like going from an iPhone 5S to a 13 Pro. I mean, you just have so much different stuff, and now that old stuff seems um, minor. It seems like a downgrade. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for growth. It'll be really exciting to see. It'll also be exciting to see like your everyday, like non-car enthusiast, but get electric vehicles and just, especially for me, I like teaching people about new stuff to an extent, but like I really do about things I'm passionate about, like electric vehicles. I think it'll be really cool to like,
Oh yeah.
explain to them about how to charge or where to charge, or maybe people understanding what kilowatt hours means, because a lot of people don't know how things are measured in. I'm like,
Right.
how much energy did you use? They're like, what are you talking about? My electric bill's just blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, it tells you on your bill, 1,000 kilowatt hours. They're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, it's right there.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
So it'll be interesting to see. I think could be rough for some people if people do go to a dealership, drive an EV, and kind of just impulse buy it, and then they go to like they got to figure all this out, and it's just all thrown on them all at once, and that will happen to some.
It might happen more than you think.
Yeah,
I know the amount of people that say at Best Buy they get thrown into buying a Mac when they're used to Windows, or people that complain they had an Android, they go to an iPhone, or the reverse of both situations.
yeah, it's probably almost a bigger deal because people use their phones hours a day.
Oh yeah.
It's a big adjustment. So
So they're just not gonna have a lot of fun. They get thrown into an EV, not knowing exactly how it works, and then
well, the
get
salesperson will be like,
stranded.
yeah, there's a charger down at McDonald's. You can just charge it there, and that's a level 2 charger. It's gonna take you 8 hours.
There's gonna be a lot of
A lot of misinformation.
misinformation and quick grabs, cash grabs. Oh yeah, it's super easy. You'll figure it out. And then people that have zero clue, are gonna have a lot of trouble. So it definitely needs to be. That's why we're here. We're gonna educate a little bit, kind of make everything more familiar. That's the whole reason that 304 EVs exists. We're just talking about the news. We're just covering it, getting it out there. And it's already out there, but it's a lot easier, I think, to hear it to I guess normal people.
Yeah, well, I think
Uh,
we're car enthusiasts, but I think we talk like we're maybe not car enthusiasts. Like on this podcast, we're not like super into the details. We're not making this for car enthusiasts, I guess.
Yeah, it's for the normal people. See, the goal is for this to make sense to everybody. Um, so if there's ever a situation where something's not explained well or in a way that's not easy to understand, definitely let someone know.
Yeah, just leave a
Well,
comment.
let us know, not someone. Don't tell your mom. Tell the comment section. Let us know. We'll check it. Because it's just one of those things where you just it's not always really easy to comprehend certain terms. Yeah, like kilowatt hours. Heck, sometimes I get confused with.
Yeah, it is a lot
Um,
easier once you own an electric vehicle. Like a lot of the stuff, like I guess you care a little bit more once you own one because like it affects you personally.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I'm just like a secondhand smoker right now. Just getting a little bit of it.
yeah, and then Oh yeah, you do know you didn't mention it here, but someone you know took delivery of a Tesla.
Oh yeah, girlfriend's dad, good old Terry, if he's listening. So going on, Terry. I got delivery of his Tesla Model Y Performance. This on Super Bowl Sunday. Actually, he was going to pick it up Friday, but then they were out of town, so he ended up getting it on Sunday. But yeah, I visited the Tesla dealership on Saturday when I was in Easton.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't. Did you? Did they have any test drive cars? Did you
Yeah,
ask?
there was people test driving while I was there. I didn't
Hmm.
test drive one. They had new showroom cars. So I
Nice.
sat in a red Model 3 in the
Yeah.
showroom, but they wouldn't let me see the Model Y that he ordered. So I squatted down in front of the red Model 3 because he got a red Model Y. Had Maddie take a picture of me in front of the red Model 3 and send it to him. And immediately he was like, "Is that my Tesla? Is that my car?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, it sure is." And he was like, he was falling for it. And then we came clean, and he was like, "That was a good one. That was pretty funny." But then we
Was this car not out in the parking lot? Where do they
nah.
keep them at?
So we ended up. I was gonna say we ended up finding there's the showroom, and then there's a service garage. But like behind the showroom, so like towards the back of the building, like if you were to walk through the showroom,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's another indoor place that I guess kind of connects to the service garage. But we saw cars sitting in there, and against the window as we were walking down the sidewalk on the other side of the street, there was a red Model Y sitting there, and Maddie
Mm.
videoed it and sent it to him. She's like, "I think this is your car, actually." But yeah, they gave me some excuse as to why I couldn't see it because I was like, I explained as much detail as I could that I know about the car, that I'm not just some guy trying to see somebody else's car. And they were like, "Oh well, it's probably getting inspected and cleaned up." And yeah, you can't see it, but I was like, "It's been here since Friday. I know that for a fact. Like I'm sure in 2 days, he was supposed to come pick it up 2 days ago. I'm sure it's done. Like you're not still inspecting it." But I get it to an extent. I mean, that's not my car, so I can't
Yeah, they don't know.
expect that.
Maybe they think you're his enemy and you're making all this up and you're gonna go like key the car.
Yeah, yeah, they don't know.
I mean,
I get it, but I thought it would be pretty funny if I got to go touch it or something before he did.
was the interior of the one you sat in the showroom white or black?
Black.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure both of them were black. Actually, I don't think they had a white one in there.
What were they? Model 3 and Model Y?
Yeah, yeah,
I want
pretty
to see
sure they were
Model
both black.
S's.
I would love to see a Model S in the showroom. That's what they should do. Like any other showroom, any other dealership, they put their high-end cars in the showroom, and everything else goes out on the lot.
Well, years ago, like before, I guess before Tesla really got popular, they did have Model S's in the show. Well, that's all they had actually. Like
Yeah.
4 years ago, well, longer than that, 5 or 6 years ago, when I went, all they had was a Model S.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then Model X came, and then Model 3, Model Y, Cybertruck. But yeah, they used to have a Model S, or they did for a short period of time there out front of the building in the weather. I was like, that's kind of strange that they would have the Model 3 and Y inside and the S right outside the door. That they'd put the S inside. And then before that, like a couple years ago, they would have a Model X sitting out back, and then they'd have all these cars sitting outside. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that dealership. They're really nice in there. I wish every dealership was like a Tesla dealership where they're just very hands off. You just browse, you just look, you test drive, and they're not like, "You want to buy a car today? You ready? You want to work up some numbers? What do you think?" "Oh yeah, we can get that buffed out for you. No problem. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll get it taken care of." They're just like so worried about selling, and you kind of don't enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
So
For our viewers, like if you ever want to test drive a Tesla, you just kind of go online, you fill out the form, and I think you go ahead and take a picture of your ID, and you just show up, and they don't ask you how much money you make or what you're thinking about buying or what model. They're just like, "Oh, you're here for your test drive," and I think some of us still make you sign, and then they just say, "Here you go, be back in 30 minutes." Like,
well, they say, "All right, get in. Make sure you feel
oh yeah,
comfortable."
they show you
They
they
give you a
show
little quickie.
if you tell them you've driven one before, which I had, they kind of let you just go. But if not, yeah, they gonna give you a quick rundown. But not during the rundown. They're not trying to sell you. They're not being a salesman, basically.
Yeah, they're just making sure you don't crash when you leave the parking lot,
Yeah.
which is easy to do if you're not used to it, because that thing will pick up and go, and it will knock you in the back of the seat, which is a great feeling. I can't wait for all that to happen. But it's so strange too, because you can get cars that do that now. Obviously, it's Tesla, but you can get gas cars that do that. But you hear them and you expect it, and it's a familiar feeling. And then when you get an electric car, it's brand new, and it's quiet. It just goes. It's crazy. It's a really cool feeling. Yeah, I would recommend everybody to test drive a Tesla. I think it's a really cool thing, um, especially in an age where they're not all that common yet. Even though they're becoming more and more popular, not everybody has one. Not everybody knows someone that has one. So definitely take the opportunity if you're available to. And even if you have to drive a little bit, it's worth it to go to a Tesla dealership and test drive a Tesla. So I think that's a good thing for everybody to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's not intimidating to go to do that at that dealership. Now, like if you want to test drive other EVs, you're still going to get the classic dealership experience, which is not great in my opinion. Like if you want to drive an
Yeah,
ID4 or oh god, if Mustang Mach E, but yeah, the Tesla is super easy to test drive and no pressure. But you will be driving one of the better EVs, so be prepared for that though. If you are looking at other ones, or that maybe it's out of your price range, you might not. You might have to get a cheaper, like a Leaf or a Bolt, and it's not going to be as nice. So, well,
that's it. That's all I've got for today. If you had anything else to add over there, you
no,
think?
I think that's all we have for this episode.
Kind of went off topic a little bit there, but yeah. So yeah, basically Super Bowl ads, a lot of EVs, pretty exciting. Everything's coming into fruition, and Chargers are coming more and more popular. And I guess that's going to be a pretty common theme here on out. Uh, Everything's getting better and better and better. But yeah, definitely test drive a Tesla if you have the ability and have the means. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, and be sure to like or comment and subscribe if you'd like.
Definitely subscribe. Do it.